organization. And I'm very proud to say that we've continued our work with these specific goals in mind. Through task force and committee work, we've been able to accomplish a lot. We've developed a new process for voting for your regional directors that will expand the number of people who are able to vote. Regional officers will now be elected through the same ballot you use to vote for national officers. We've changed our club building procedure and requirements, and your region has realized the benefits of that. Congratulations and welcome, Pine Belt. We've also got a recognition program that will roll out in the coming weeks to recognize not only the work you do at the national level, but your local service as well. We've also made some larger changes as well. The national membership classification, which allows people to join Sertoma at the national level, has already changed the complexion of Sertoma. Sertoma has over 9,000 life members whose clubs have disbanded or who have moved away from their club. They're still members, but the way our policies have read in the past, there was no mechanism for them to talk with us about what they're doing or any way for us to let them know what we're doing. This change has immediately created a home for these members as national life members. We are now able to send them Sertoma publications, and we're also able to let them know about new clubs in their area, or even identify areas where there is a cluster of these folks and help them to start a new Sertoma home. Our staff has developed more than 50 new training modules for your club leadership to use. Most recently, our library has archived a presentation from a professional meeting planner designed specifically for our clubs. For the new projects we're taking on this year, we've kept our strategic goals in mind. Most importantly, I'd like to talk about our COVID-19 club relief grants. We know our clubs, your clubs, are not realizing the same level of donation you have in the past. We've freed up $250,000 to help. If your club has a fundraiser for this year that's been canceled because of COVID-19, you're eligible to apply for a grant of up to $2,000. You can learn more about the Club Relief Grant by following the URL that you see on your screen. There's also a link on the Sertoma website. I'd also like to talk about something that we as a board are working hard on, and that's structure. While the pieces of Vision 2020 went into place last year, we know we're not done. We're continuing the conversation around specialists and also around the roles of your board of directors. How do we identify and define the roles of the board, of our specialists? Where do they overlap? These are questions that we are asking ourselves, and we are looking hard at where we're duplicating our efforts and, sadly, where the gaps are showing up. Please, as members, be on the lookout for a survey on these topics. We want everyone's input so that we can make the best decisions that we can. Thank you so much for your time this morning, and I'm sure that Aaron and any other panelists will happily answer questions that you have concerning new things that are going on with Sertoma National.
Thanks, Gretchen. If you want to throw questions in the Q&A panel, Feel free. I'm sitting here watching those, and we can take them on as they come in.
I do know, Aaron, that some clubs have already received their COVID-19 grant relief checks. Is that not correct?
It's true. We have about 85 clubs that have applied and received, and we have already signed the checks and sent them out. It's in the neighborhood of about 112, 118,000 of that money left. So if your club has not, you've still got that. You've still got time. It's still there, and we'll go until it's depleted.
Is everybody just still asleep this morning? Because I was expecting a lot more questions.
Do affiliates qualify for a grant? So technically an affiliate, that's our question coming through from Bud. Do affiliates qualify for grants? An affiliate, only car clubs can apply for that grant. So in other words, if you've got an affiliate organization that you support through an event, and there are funds raised through that event, and that event is not happening, that's the way to go. Definitely throw that in there and put that in. But directly to that affiliate organization, it's not. The grant is designed for Sertoma clubs to use those funds to support affiliates or other organizations.
Aaron, somebody says they're not seeing the Q&A button.
Interesting. All right, if you mouse over at the bottom, right next to between record and live transcript, at the bottom of your window where you're watching us, you should see a Q&A button with two little speech bubbles right in there. And if not, you can throw it in the chat too, and I will certainly take a question in the chat window. Lisa Tinker has probably the greatest question about club grants that I've ever seen in my life, and that is, if National had financial issues and had to raise club dues, where did we come up with $250,000? And that's a great question. Our funds come in a couple of different ways. They come in through dues, they come in through sponsorships, and they come in through donations. Money that comes in through donations is designated. It's designated for something specific. That's why you'll always see anywhere that you donate, these funds are used for, and fill in the blank. The Sertoma Foundation was one of those designated donation spots for a long time. And that money is in an endowment fund that comes back to Sertoma. So what that means is that that fund and all of the money that fund throws off in terms of interest and in terms of investments can be used for charitable purposes, and specifically the charitable purposes for which they were contributed. So the $250,000 that you're seeing here is coming from those funds, funds that were donated to help service to mankind is how they were designated when they were donated in the beginning. The money that I can use for operations comes in from unrestricted money, i.e. dues, sponsorships, that sort of thing. So in other words, what you're seeing when you look at whether we're running a deficit is whether there is money that I can use for an unrestricted purpose, the operations. Now, if there were a fund that were restricted to operational use, we could certainly use that. But that sort of thing just doesn't exist in the structure of Sertoma and the way it's built to this point. To wrap all of that up into a really neat bow, what that means is the operational side of Sertoma ran at a deficit for a few years, which is why the dues increase came in and why our members voted that in. The charitable side of Sertoma, we do have money for, and that's where this money's coming from. So there we go. I hope that got it. If not, throw some more in there and I'll clarify. Beverly is asking if we can get access to a copy of the PowerPoint. I'd like to show it at 2 clubs at meetings. We can sure do that, Beverly. Not a problem at all. No sweat. All right. You all are too easy this morning. You throw it out there.
Yeah, right. Oh, I think we got another question. Oh, Beverly.
I-
Beverly just answered. Thank you.
Welcome, Beverly. This is fun stuff, and I think it might be worth talking some about the structure discussion because I know there's consternation about that out there when it comes to specialists. We're getting two types of feedback with specialists, and they're very interesting. We get feedback that I haven't heard from my specialist, and then we get feedback from the other side that says our clubs won't get back to us from specialists. When I have that kind of feedback that's so disparate, I tend to look at structural issues. And so that's the reason why we're really throwing this back to a larger discussion of what are the roles. We know that there are some things that kind of don't have a home within new structure of Sertoma. So we're really looking at what our regional directors do and what sorts of communication they're responsible for. Because honestly, if we're looking at the responsibilities of communication specialists and the roles of and the responsibilities of a regional director, there's some overlap there, but then there's also some gaps. So rather than make some quick slapdash changes, we do have some refinements for the communication specialist role coming in the next year, but we think it's a much larger discussion that will probably take place during the course of the entire year. So there we go. That's the answer to that. Steve Brown is asking whether we've got numbers on how many members are using the training library. And Steve, I know I have the numbers. I don't know them. It's not a metric that I track all the time. So I will get that and we'll get it out there on Members Corner so that everyone can see that. All right, so I will. John Kerr is asking, can clubs who have funds in the National Trust get their funds out if they want to manage it themselves? So this is going to get a little bit technical, so everyone bear with me. If you have a donor-advised fund, John, it's certainly possible that that can move over to an account of your own so that you can manage it. That's absolutely, definitely possible. If it's not donor-advised, it's trickier. If you've got one, give us a shout. We can certainly talk over what some of the options are. All right. Hopefully that helps out. Just give me a shout whenever we like. There we go. Bud, did any of our clubs suffer the effects of the hurricane, and do they need help from the clubs? Our hearts are with everyone who's suffering from this. And I will tell you that I've been in contact with some people in Port Arthur, most of whom left very wisely. And so, Bud, I honestly, we've got it on our list on Monday morning to start checking in with people. We wanted to give people the weekends to stay safe, not worry about us, and get out and hopefully get back. And so we've got it on our list to start checking in with people and see exactly what the need is out there. But I have to tell you, my hearts are with us. We've got, we actually have a board member who's in Port Arthur, Tim Romero, and I know that he has gone on to Austin for the weekend, so he is safe. But we're going to be checking in for sure. But I appreciate the question very, very much, and it's been on my mind too. So thank you. Diane's asking if we've ever considered having specialists contact both the club presidents and chairman of the board. Diane, we started out with specialists a couple of different ways. We started out with saying, please contact this person on the board. We realized real quickly that that did not fly. And there's no way to know that this person on the board is the right person. So we have opened it up for specialists to contact whomever is the best person in that club to talk to. So our specialists should be contacting, honestly, to start out a conversation, the entire board to find out who the best person is. Again, that's another thing that we're refining. We've got a call with specialist leadership coming up in the next week or so. And hopefully that we'll be able to figure out a better way to do that. So I appreciate it. Harvey's got a really good question about life members. Will the 9,000 life members show up, or are they showing up on the membership report? So Harvey, here's the thing. Yes, they do. And Joy was lucky enough, since this change was made at the beginning of the fiscal year, to be presiding over probably the largest one-day increase in Sertoma membership history. When one day we had 1,000 life members and the next day we had 9,000 life members. So they are showing up. We're working really hard in the office at figuring out, A, who's engaged still and wants to hear from us, and B, we're down to about 7,000 right now. And so we're getting there. Look for that number to be about 7,000 next time. And it'll probably go down from there and probably find a happy place that it lives at. And I'll let you know when we feel like we're done with that process. So yes, it should show up, is the short answer. Hey, Bev, she's got a question. The improved online and email and snail mail communications have helped SUE clubs and members feel more connected to Sertoma National. And they've been kind of dark in Central Florida since March 1st, and communications should get better soon. I appreciate that, Bev, and that's one thing I'll encourage you, is you'll get communications from us and from specialists, and when you see that, just make sure that you check in. And sometimes it's as easy as, hey, we're real nuts right now with this event, or everyone's kind of disconnected right now because of COVID, but we'll be back in touch in a couple of months. That allows us to check the box that we know you, we've seen you, and we know where we're at. So I appreciate that sentiment a lot, Dad. Thank you. I will be around throughout the day. I'm not going anywhere. So if you've got questions that come up, feel free to throw them in the Q&A in the chat, and I can answer them there. Or if it's something bigger, we can hop back online. Yes, ma'am.
There's one more question on there from Diane Warhol.
Oh, I just see it.
Yep.
It came up while I started talking.
Yep.
If we know someone who is in an area without a Sertoma club who has never been in a Sertoma club, can they become a national member? Absolutely.
Yes.
If you go to sertoma.org, there is a join now button, and you can hit it, and you can join right then and there. The board got sick of me hearing me say this, but one of the things that made us really feel like we needed this was that I pointed out that I can't wake up in the morning and say, I'd like to join Sertoma, and then go to bed as a member of Sertoma. I am really happy to say that that is no longer the case. You can join Sertoma at any time from anywhere. All right, Gretchen, I will turn this back over to you for a final thank you.
All right, thank you very much to all of you who are here with us this morning. Please know that your board is working harder than I think. I served on the board before. We worked hard, but right now I'm telling you, your board is working hard for you, and we're doing our absolute best to listen to the membership and see what it is that you need from us, and hopefully either get you an answer or provide those needs to you. Please do not ever feel like you cannot reach out to us as a board. You can find us on the website, reach out to us individually. If it's something that you think you'd like information from the whole board, reach out to Aaron and he will happily share that information with the entire board. Just know that we are very dedicated right now to not only strengthening this organization, but to strengthening your clubs and the relationship between your clubs and the board. So thank you again for your time this morning, and thank you so much for your time and your service to this amazing organization. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I think it goes back to Lucy, yes?
Correct. Thank you, Gretchen. That was amazing. Thank you so much. That was very, very informative. Thank you, Aaron. Also, we appreciate it. And she's correct. If you have any questions for anything, our board is definitely working for you, the membership this year, and we appreciate it. We have a president that is for all of us. Her mission is we are all in this together. So if you have any questions for any of us, please reach out to any of us. We'll be glad to help you. So thanks again, Gretchen. We appreciate it. Next up is the regional treasurer with her report. Dee?
Hello. I have a report to pull up here. Just a minute. Okay, there we go. I'm Dee Manchester. I'm your new treasurer for this year, and I was treasurer for part of last year. And if you have any questions, I've got on the screen my email address and my phone number. So let's go. I'm just going to pull up an actual versus budget report. In the first column is actual expenditures for the year ending June 30th, 2020. And in the column, of course, under budget are the budget numbers that were budgeted for the year. You can see that our revenue regional dues were down by $2,016 for the year. Administrative costs were up. One of the reasons for that is because I did buy QuickBooks software to run the financials on. For me, that's an easier process. And to send out billing, you'll notice that they come to you, the treasurers, by email now, if I have your email. And in the total board meeting expenses were up by $1,194. And I think some of that might have been due to both Bud and Lucy going to board meetings, and so the lodging and travel were up. Secretary treasurer expenses were down by $208. This national registration amount, it has been refunded, but it was not refunded until July of this year, so it's not showing. New clubs and current, this is incentives and recognition, lodging and meals and travel. That's down by $8,266. And of course, you know, that's no surprise because of COVID-19. Travel was cut off in the second half of the year, pretty much. Regional conventions, the cost of those are down by $756. So you can see we had a surplus over the year with a total of $15,249 of income and total expenses of $9,897.46. Our net income was $5,351.54. So that's my report. And I'd like to tell you that the budget has been sent via email or mail, if I did not have an email address for your treasurer, to all the treasurers of all the clubs. And I would like to mention, if anybody's online from the Knoxville, Downtown Sertoma, Sertoma Club of Lakeland, Palm Bay, Sertoma, and West Knoxville, Sertoma, if anybody from those clubs is online, I'd like to see if you could get me an email of your treasurer, because it's much more convenient to send out the invoices via email. And of course, it's a lot less costly with the cost of postage nowadays. And that's my treasurer's report. If you have any questions, you can ask them now, or you can give me a call at the number I provided. Thank you.
Bev, you've got a question, or sorry, Dee, you've got a question in the chat that I think might be quickly to answer, and that's just a balance for the region at this time, probably just a live, net.
Okay. Yeah, at the end of June, the balance was $11,043. And that shows on the budget report. When you get that, you'll see that was a carryover into this year. Any other questions?
Dee, you've got one other question on dues, whether region dues are remaining the same.
As far as I know, there would have to be probably a proposal to decrease or increase dues, and then voted upon by the regional members. Right now, they're $3 per member.
And Dee, you've got one other where if there's a motion to accept needed, if so, we make that motion to accept. I believe that we probably are better off at this point, Lucy. That said, I think you're better off at this point doing an email vote for your region on the budget. It just as a an acceptance. I think you're better off doing that than you are trying to do that here live. That would be my recommendation anyway.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, I mean, you're not in a time crunch to do this, so that would be my recommendation.
Right, right. So we could vote it via email. I think there was some conflict last.
You absolutely can. And here's
okay.
what we'll do is we will just announce the email vote, give everyone a lot of time. I mean, you could take a month and 6 weeks to review, and then come back and do the voting on a specific day after that. So my recommendation would be to go that direction.
Okay.
Okay, that sounds good. We'll do that. Thank you, Erin. Okay. All right, next we have our Regional Development Chair, Randy Holland, and he's going to give us a presentation on our annual fund. Randy?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
We can.
Okay. It's telling me that it will not let me because, here we go. Start my video. Here we go. I can see, Dee, I see my screen. I don't see me, but that's fine. Can y'all hear me? Hello?
Everyone can hear you, Randy. They're just
can hear
unmuted
you, Randy.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, well, good morning. My name is Randy Holland, and I've been a proud Sertoman since 1993. And I'm, like most of you, I'm at home today. I'm coming to you from the heart of the historic district in downtown Laurel, Mississippi. And real quick, I'll say that there's three things about Laurel. One is we have the Laurel Sertoma Club, of course, here. We're famous or infamous, whichever one you want to be. And then we are the proud owners of the new Pine Belt Women's Sertoma Club. I tell you, I am extremely proud of Penny McNair and the other ladies that are members of that club. And I see great things that they're doing already, especially in a year like this year. That's crazy as it's been. They're a bunch of go-getters. And then last but not least, I'd like to mention to you, if this is a fine, I'll be glad to pay it, but Laurel is the home of the new hit TV series on HGTV, Hometown, which is currently filming right now, and it will be starting up in spring of 2021 again with a new season. So I encourage you, if you've not been to Laurel for a 2 or 3 day weekend, get your cars and come on and see us. We'd love to have you guys visit. As your developmental chairperson for the region, basically what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to help grow Sertoma's mission in our region by developing a plan, a unique plan to our region. That's one of the things I'm supposed to do. The other thing I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to help recruit and engage mission specialists in this region to reach their developmental and mission goals. The mission specialists are, real quickly, their definition is mission specialists are to grow Sertoma's mission through great engagement of members and clubs, increase the membership and clubs' understanding of the mission activities that are available to them that will help us increase the levels of support for the annual fund, and other shared efforts, and show increasing participation by Sertoma clubs and members in a shared mission activity. So basically, the mission specialists will contact and be directly with the clubs, and then we'll work with them from this level up here. We actually have 3 that we've already got on board as part of our team. I'd like to kind of introduce those to you by name. Steve Thrash, a lot of you know Steve. We call Steve Mr. Sertoma here in Laurel. He's served Sertoma in many, many different ways over the years. I asked Steve to help us out with the state of Mississippi. And then once Brian got with Steve and we got him trained in, Steve called me back and said, hey, listen, I'll be glad to take on the clubs in Alabama and the Panhandle of Florida. So Steve will be serving as the mission specialist for not only Mississippi, but for the state of Alabama and for the Panhandle of Florida. I'm probably going to mess up these 2 last names, so ladies, y'all bear with me. But Anita Sandifer from the Macon Professional Women's Sertoma Club in Macon, Georgia, will be taking on that position for us over in the Georgia market. And she'll be getting in touch with the clubs and talking to them about the foundation or about the annual fund over there. And Susan Bastia from St. Augustine, Florida, will be taking care of that for us in the South Florida market. So we're excited about our team. My brother, John Kerr, I know he's here listening and being part of it today. John's been helping us work through and trying to find somebody to help us in Tennessee. And once we get that person on, if you're from that part of the area and you'd like to be a part of this team, get in touch with John, Lucy, or myself, or National, Brian up there, or whomever, and let us know that you want to be a mission specialist in the state of Tennessee. Real quickly, I'm going to run through our annual fund presentation. Dee, if you would go to the next screen. Or Janice. Somebody?
Technical difficulties. We can't avoid them, can we?
That's okay.
Just a moment and we'll get that going.
I did notice in one of the chat lines that somebody said they loved Hometown while we're getting this thing fixed. Debbie and I moved to the downtown area about 2.5 years ago. And I thought it was about the stupidest thing in the world that somebody would want to go to Laurel, Mississippi and tour homes and look at the streets and that kind of stuff. And I'm sitting in my sunroom right now. I could open up my curtains in my sunroom and the sidewalks are almost full of tourists on a Saturday morning. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's been great for
Randy?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you see your presentation?
I see the one that says being part of Sertoma's mission, and that's the only one I've seen.
Oh, you don't see the others? Okay,
No,
I don't know why it's not.
Is this D?
Okay. Yeah.
Dee, I'll get mine going for you. How's that?
Okay. I'll stop sharing. I don't know why it's not moving, but there we go.
There we go. Okay. Again, I said a moment ago, I'm Randy Holland. I've been a proud Sertoma since 1993. Next slide, please, ma'am.
I believe you've read that one.
Yes, ma'am. Sertoma's mission. Sertoma's mission is to improve the quality. Oh, that's okay. That's all right. Let me catch up with you. I think we're a little further down the line than I wanted to be, huh? Let's go back. Let's go back to the slide that says Sertoma's mission, please. Can we do that?
Give me just a second here.
Thank you. There we go. Yeah, we're getting there. There we go. There we go. That's perfect. Sertoma's mission. Sertoma's mission is to improve the quality of life today for those at risk or impacted by hearing loss through education and support. That's what we're here for, guys. That's what we do as Sertomans. Next slide, please, ma'am. How do we do it? Sertoma helps through philanthropy, through the annual fund, awareness and education via Safe Ears, and with Hearing Charities of America. Real quickly and real briefly, philanthropy efforts, it helps nonprofit hearing health organizations across the country with their hearing health services. It is a network of nonprofit hearing health organizations that share the same mission and goals, helping expand awareness and impacting individuals with communicative disorders. Affiliates are eligible for both professional education grants and community grants. Grant programs inside the adoption agency, which is community grants, help our affiliates, our affiliate organizations with hearing health programs and projects. These affiliates, guys, can get grants between $2,500 and $5,000. Professional education grants are $425, and these are available to the affiliates as well for conferences and for training. And of course, as Sertoma clubs, we'll pay that $200 annual fee for that grant. Okay, next slide, please, ma'am. Let's talk about the annual fund. And as we start talking about the annual fund, get your checkbooks out, your credit cards, your cell phone, so you can text something here in a moment if you want to go ahead and do that. I think Sertoma right now in the annual fund in 2020 COVID-19 it's more important now than ever that we dig deep in our pockets and we continue to protect our annual fund. Go to the next slide, please, ma'am. All right, so this young man's name is Samuel. Now, Samuel received a Sertoma scholarship so he could head off to his freshman year at Emory University. He was raised by a supportive, loving single mom that supported them on a teacher's salary. Now, Samuel has had many challenges along the way. He was born with bilateral hearing loss, and his family floated at or below the poverty level for most of his life. But as you can see, he's got a smile on his face because Samuel overcame some of these challenges and many more. He graduated with a 4.0 GPA. He was the president of his high school National Honor Society. He was vice president of the Young Men's Service League and was awarded the Gold Medal Presidential Service Volunteer Award. He looks happy in this picture, and he is because he has fulfilled his dream to go to college. We as Sertomans come together and made the scholarship happen for Samuel. In 2019 and 2020, Sertoma year, the annual fund gave out 50 deaf and hearing scholarships to undergraduates like Daniel. On top of that, the annual fund gave 50 communicative disorder scholarships to graduate students working to become audiologists and speech pathologists. And in 19 community grant ranging from $2,500 to $5,000 to nonprofit hearing and health organizations across the United States. Together, we as Sertomans make the annual fund a bigger, better place in America for the hearing health community. You can do it today. You can make your annual fund donation by texting, and it should be on your screen, SOUTHEAF. Text that to 44-321. Next screen, please, ma'am. Okay, so here's the individual member level. We're all pretty much familiar with this. I wanted you to take note of the pin in the upper left-hand corner. That's what the fellow pin looks like this year, guys. Rainer Jacobs, I know you're on here. We received, as I said earlier, Steve Thrash is our mission specialist in this area. I know that Brian has already sent him some pins. I got your check week before last. I gave it to Steve. He sent it off. And if Steve hasn't already mailed your pin, it should be coming to you pretty quick. As we said a moment ago, guys, every donation is important from $1 on up. $1 to $124 is greatly appreciated. When you get $125 and above, you start getting the pin. You get to $250 and above, you get the pin and the tab. So again, you can text that information. You can text that donation off today. Next slide, please, ma'am. Here is our annual fund club donation levels. I know here in Laurel, we always try to be 100% early bird. And so again, I hope you guys and your clubs will look at this and try to get those checks in. Real quickly, I wanted to mention that, well, I'll get to that in just a moment. I apologize. We'll talk about what our budget is for this year for the annual fund. Also, make note at the bottom of the screen there, it tells you that these gifts can come from your club's sponsorship money. Now, Penny, I know you're watching, so what that means is, and so some of you may be newer Sertomans, is if you're out there doing a fundraiser and you raise funds, if you would like to participate in the annual fund, the monies that you raise can be used for the annual fund. Next page, please, ma'am. There we go. That's the sheet I was looking for there. Our 2020 and 2021 goals for the Southeast region. Our goal is $23,000. We currently have just under $1,000 raised so far, last report I got. So we've got a little ways to go, but as always in the Southeast region, or the old Southern region, or the Caribbean region, or whatever we used to be, we have always came through for the annual fund. So I challenge you today, if you would please, to get those contributions in as soon as you possibly can. It says here that if every club became 100% fellow club, the annual fund would raise over $1 million. Think about what we could do for speech and hearing in this country if we had those kind of funds. Next slide, please, ma'am. Now, how do we do that? We've got several different ways. Last year, the Sertoma board noticed that a lot of the clubs were not doing much for May, which is Better Hearing and Speech Month. So they created a task force of Sertomans to develop a low-cost project for clubs across the country that could use that to participate in the May's Better Hearing and Speech Month for 2021. Sertoma and Hearing Charities of America have partnered together to help Sertoma clubs around the country get a low-cost, high-quality, portable looping device for hospitals or clinics in your community. Here's how the project will work. From now until January the 29th, Sertoma clubs can purchase a portable InfoLoop directly from Contracta at a discounted rate. Clubs can then take the funds for their portable InfoLoop from their existing sponsorship funds, or they can hold a special fundraiser for that purpose. In April, Contracta will ship each club the portable InfoLoops that they have ordered so that the clubs can present those to your local hospitals or clinics during the month of May. Portable InfoLoops are a small looping system that is great for one-on-one conversation. These things are about the size of a 3-ring binder. Sertoma staff has worked out a deal with Contracta where the clubs will pay less than $300 a piece for these things. I can, side note, I can tell you that Laurel's already looking at buying a couple of them. It's a great way for your club to participate and make a difference during the next Better Hearing and Speech Month. If you've got any questions, you can contact me or Lucy, or you can get in touch with Sertoma National. Next slide, please, ma'am. Other ways is obviously with our Celebrate Sound. Celebrate Sound, in case you didn't know, is a national awareness and raising and fundraising event created to help promote hearing health in our community. Clubs can use the tools provided by National to help create a fun and memorable event, promote hearing health, raise funds for their club, and support our national hearing health mission. Some of those tools that are available, step-by-step event instructions, t-shirt design, event web setup, design and support, online event registration and donations, online tracking of the event's participations or participants, donations and sponsorships. They also have an insurance through a national provider and a professional support staff. This is an easy way for your club to participate. Next slide, please, ma'am. Other ways, hearing aid projects. Hearing aid projects is a great way for your club to get involved with our partner, Charity Hearing Charities of America. This is a low cost to your club, but a great benefit for your community. This program provides refurbished hearing aids to low income individuals and is a great benefit for the community. People with hearing loss tend to isolate themselves, so let's improve the quality of life today. Clubs can hold hearing aid drives or set up collection centers for hearing aids in their community. They could help recruit an audiologist to serve local hearing aid projects. They can let community organizers and organizations know about the event, and they can do a Celebrate Sound event on hearing charity banners and support the project. Excuse me. Do a personal fundraiser to ensure at least one person gets a $500 hearing aid. Next slide, please, ma'am. The next slide, please. There we go. Remember your annual fund. Again, I've said it 2 or 3 times already. Fund grants and scholarships. It funds national programs. Your annual fund does change lives. Next slide, please. And here are the ways you can contribute. As I said a moment ago, there's the information for doing the text. There's an email address there. You can mail your check to Kansas City. We just need to get those funds in. I hope in the next couple of weeks to have a chance to get with somebody up in National and see that just under $1,000 number go way up. Next slide, please, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for serving. Thank you for being here. I know these virtual meetings are new to all of us, or at least to a lot of us, especially those of us that were born in the dinosaur age. But thank you for allowing me to serve. Lucy, thank you for asking me to do this year. I'm really fired up about it. Even though it's COVID-19, I had a doctor's appointment the other day and I walked in, the lady checked my temperature and everything. And she said, if you've been around anybody with a COVID-19, I looked at her under my mask and I said, what's the COVID? See, I just don't even think about it. It's not part of my vocabulary. So again, thank you very much. Do I have any questions? If not, I'll turn it back over to Lucy.
Hey, Randy, hold on just a second. In the Q&A, Harvey Reinhardt wants to know, has the Laurel Sertoma Club thought about offering hometown to serve them as volunteers to help in some way? He suggests it might be a great way for Sertoma to get some national recognition. Does the couple that does hometown, which I love the show, do they often reach out for volunteers to do stuff, or is this something they use just their paid employees for?
That's a great question. I know Ben and Aaron real well. I know Steve does too, and probably Lucy. They actually live right around the corner from my house here. To answer your question, they're a production company. It's actually RTR Productions out of Toronto, Canada, that came up with the series and pitched it to the network of HGTV. So to answer your question, they have their own crews. They don't mind people watching them film, but like at a police scene, they set up barriers. They don't let you take pictures or anything like that. So Ben and Aaron has helped us in the past, kind of privately and quietly, but as a hometown, quote unquote, hometown organization through RTR Productions, they have their own staffs.
I wonder if you could reach out to them, Randy, and kind of tell them a little bit about Sertoma, or they already know a little bit about Sertoma, in case maybe they ever come across somebody whose home could use a looping system built into it as they're doing the work.
That is a fantastic idea. I'm glad I thought of that.
You're welcome.
I'll grab Ben next week and say, hey, Ben, guess what I was thinking about the other day?
There you go. My husband just wants to go play in his workshop.
Y'all need to come down and see his workshop. It's phenomenal.
I would love to.
Any other questions? Well, thanks again, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Randy. That was phenomenal. We learned a lot about our annual fund. I want to thank all the people. Thank you, people that are going to be our mission specialists for our different states. And if you do have any checks for your annual fund, please send them in to Sertoma National right away so we can start building our goal for our Southeastern region. Welcome back. Okay, everyone, welcome back. We're now going to hear from Jesse Brown, and he's going to tell us about Camp Endeavor and Sertoma Youth Ranch. Jesse?
Are we on?
Yes, we are.
Okay, very good. Good morning, Southeastern region. This is Jesse Brown from sunny Tampa, Florida, a 51-year perfect attendance member. They never was able to get rid of me, and I didn't have any place else to go. So I just stayed in Sertoma because I enjoyed it so much. I'm sure I got a lot more out of it than I gave. Anyway, I'm here to explain some of the history of several of our what we call state sponsorships that our clubs are mostly all involved with, besides their normal community charities. And that one to start with is Camp Endeavor. Camp Endeavor started way back in the early 70s by a fellow by the name of Jeff Camp, who ran the camp and was holding the camp once a year in various locations throughout the state. It might be 1 year in Tallahassee, another year in Jacksonville, maybe another year in St. Augustine, Orlando. These are several places that were involved wherever was available for him to rent. However, in as Sertoma members began to get involved because of the hearing impaired children that he was given the camp to, they took it over in 1976 and later was able to secure property down in Dundee, Florida, which is central part of Florida. We had 10 acres that they were bought, and then there was another roughly 10 acres or so adjacent to that was owned by the state. And then the state deeded it to the city of Dundee, and then in turn the city donated it to Camp Endeavor with the stipulation that it was to be used as a children's recreation area. Now, in addition to that, there was another 8 or 10 acres on the other side that was owned by a church. And they, in turn, it was kind of a dormant situation. They, in turn, deeded it over to Camp Endeavor with the stipulation that it was to be used for children's purposes. So at that time, they started developing the camp, came along, they put up, we have now a total of 9 buildings, 3 of which are dormitory type buildings, and we'll show that here in a moment. Let's see if we can punch the little thing here. Picture, where is it? Well, I can't, oh, there we go. There's a picture of one of them. We have 3 of them, and they house about 30 children in each one of these things. And the funny story about it goes with that thing, when after this was built, obviously they had to have bunk beds and mattresses. The Tampa East Sertoma Club said, well, we'll build the bunk beds, because that was a 50-member club, which I'm a member of now, have been for many years. Anyway, and my home club at that time was the Hillsborough Club. We said, okay, we'll provide the mattresses. Well, we had a guy that was had a connection with St. Joseph's Hospital here in Tampa, and they were going to donate us about 30 or 40 hospital beds, mattresses rather. And that worked out fine. Tampa East built the bunk bed. We carried the mattresses down there, and little did we know that the mattresses were a foot longer than the bed was, because they were a hospital bed, not normal size mattresses. Anyway, we had to rebuild the bunk beds, which we did. So anyway, from that time on, a big building was built with a full commercial type kitchen that served the children and anyone else that will want to rent the facilities during the year, which obviously promotes and generates funds to run the camp for the children impaired. Let's see if we can go back. Here we go now. Let's see if we can get a picture. Here's one picture of the lake, the beach area. And then to the left of that is our caretaker's house, which is part of the facility. Then we have another lake period, which you saw behind the bunk beds. Next slide, please. We can get that up. Here's a picture of when the camp was involved here with the children. They have anywhere from 75 to 100 children each year during the week or 2-week period. All the while, the children and staff are all using sign language. And they have once a year at the end of this session, they have a Sertoma Day, which all clubs are invited. Anybody who wants to come down, have a box lunch with the kids. They put on a full show, all in sign language. Now, if you've never seen that, that's a unique experience and heartwarming experience as well, to see all these children that are speaking, so to speak, with their hands. Let's see, I think we have another picture or 2 of them. And there's another one lining up for the games. They have all kinds of various games for the children. They have obviously the swimming, the beach area, And usually once a year in the past, they will even have on one of the days during the session, Legoland and or Disney World give the Camp Endeavor free passes for the children for that one day, which is a big donation. Here's a young fella here learning how to shoot a bow and arrow. I hope he points in the right direction. Looks like he will. Now we have, okay, we'll come back to this one. We have a board of directors, which is run by a number of Sertoma members and some local people that are celebrities in the city of Dundee. In the last number of years, that has been headed up by one of our former district governors in that area, Charles Lake. So he and his staff do a great job of doing work for the children. Anytime anybody would like to make a donation, let's say get in touch with me or Charles Lake or call Lucy. She has all my information, and she will be glad to get you involved with that. And you can sign up for a donation and help the children with the, and obviously this is what we're all about, is hearing impaired children and otherwise. So anyway, that covers basically some of the history of the Camp Endeavor. And I think we'll move on now to the next one. And that is, obviously, as you see on the screen, welcome to Sertoma Youth Ranch. I don't know how many of you have been there, but to give you the history of that, going way back also, back in 1973, a group of us, mainly 3 of us, had gone to a regional convention in Huntsville, Alabama, and we were sitting around one of the hotel rooms discussing what can we do to promote Sertoma and help kids. We came up with this idea of having what we called at that time, as you see on the screen, the Sertoma Ranch, Service to Boys. And that was the name of it, and you'll see the date down there. We incorporated 15th of January, 1974. And I think there's a picture. Next slide. Here is an overview of the ranch back in 1974, before anything was there. You'll notice at the bottom is I-75. The property butts right up against I-75. There's an exit just prior, 2 miles before. You go 4 miles off the interstate, back in the woods, and there you had 60 acres, 62.4 to be exact, acres of land. In later years, around 1980, we added 20 more acres adjacent to it, which is all kept in primitive mode, even to this day, for camping only. Now, to give you a little story about this youth ranch, like I said, we talked about it, discussed it, said, okay, let's get some property and serve the kids, see what we can do with it. So we hunted. We found, finally, after 4 or 5 months of searching, this particular property. Nowhere else could we find enough property that we wanted, or could we do any dealing with any of the owners. This particular property, the man came up with a price, and we told him right up front we didn't have any money, which we didn't. Anyway, we told him what we wanted to do with it, to have a ranch for boys at that time, to let them come out and commune with nature and really just live in kind of in the rough at no charge. And what we intended to do was to get other clubs involved to support and finance the operation. Well, the old fellow that owned the property liked our idea and what we were trying to do and promote. He said, the price of the property, and we checked around and we thought it was a pretty good price. And I'll tell you that in a moment. Anyway, he came up with $68,000. That's 60 acres of property, so $68,000. That's about $1,100 an acre, which is a pretty good price. It's more like $10,000 an acre now. Anyway, we said, well, we don't have any money to speak of. And he said, I need a down payment. He said, can you come up with the $8,000? And with 1 year or more, no payments. So, we said, we can probably do that. So, make a long story short there, I came up with the $8,000 and we made the down payment. And on blind faith, we started out. To begin with, we got volunteers from our club and a number of other clubs in the area to go out there many weekends to clear the land. And we first got down to it. Originally, the road that came from the main road down to the property was completely washed out. You could not get a vehicle down there. So we literally had to carry lawnmowers, chainsaws, sling cutters, weed whackers, you name it, hacksaws, axes, whatever we could get a hold of. We had to carry it down by hand in order to get down there to the bottom of the property and clear the thing off and kind of make tentative roads and cut out trees that were either dead or we didn't need or such. And another little by story later on, a year or so later, if you notice in the top portion of this, I don't know if I can get a little corner, no I can't. Anyway, the top portion of this picture, there's a little white spot. That white spot is still there. It's just west of our big pavilion now. And that was an open area of white sand. I don't know what from, maybe have been pumped up at one time. Anyway, we had one of the front members in our club who was a amateur parachutist. So one weekend, we had a little work party up there, and he flew the plane or had someone fly a little plane over the area, and he parachuted down to this little area, this white area in the ranch. So anyway, it's just a little back story. That's what I say. After 47 years, there's a lot of things I remember. Some things I don't remember what happened last week. But that's the way, that's all right too, I guess. As long as I remember how to get home. Anyway, to do this thing, we have over the years, and still, now this is a picture showing of the new pavilion way at the other end of the property. Now we have the first pavilion was put up about a 30 by 60 by one of our prominent members in the Seaport Sertoma Club here in Tampa, Gilbert Turner, who has now passed away years ago. And now we just a few years back now, about 3 years ago, 4 years, put up a brand new 40 by 80 foot pavilion with a stage for what we have now as the Bluegrass Festivals, which brings another story too. When we first started it, this is a picture of a cabin. Well, we have a cabin there that we rent out. Anyway, when we started this thing out, we started out with several country western type programs trying to raise money. This is a picture, by the way, of our big bathhouse. There are about a dozen showers and bath facilities there on site. Then we have another small one we'll see in a minute. Anyway, we did not, this is a picture of this is our Soggy Bottom Pavilion, which is the other end of the ranch, which we hold our board meetings, etc. Anyway, we started out with country western formats and just didn't fly. We didn't make any money. And anyway, one of our members, Steve Detman at the time, came up with the idea, said, well, maybe we ought to try bluegrass. And I said, well, what is bluegrass? In my day, if probably older folks will remember, we call it hillbilly music. Back in the old hills of Tennessee. I know John and his buddies and Les up there can relate to that. I know they were on. Anyway, it just didn't fly. Even though we enjoyed it, it just didn't fly. So he came up with the idea. He had this friend that had the bluegrass parlor music shop. And he came out and explained to us what the bluegrass was, and that you'd have about a half a dozen different bands would come in, and they had a loyal following of people that would come out and pitch their tents or their campers and come to these bluegrass areas and facilities. And we could raise money that way. Well, make a long story short on that, the first one that we had, we did not take in enough money to pay the bands. And each one of them bands are at that time around $300-400 a piece. They're much higher now. Anyway, we went to the band, we got them together and said, hey guys, we can't pay you the full amount. They said, well, we like what you're trying to do, what you're trying to develop. If you pay us what you can, split it up amongst the bands, if you will invite us back the following year. Well, we were certainly glad and happy to do that. So another crisis rendered helpless, which anyway kept it going. Anyway, over the years, as the bluegrass festivals gained momentum, more people, hundreds of people, and then started 1,000 people would come out and come to the festival, which created a new problem, which at that time we said, well, we need to have a Sertoma Club on site. Now remember, this is about 33 miles north of Tampa. We need to have a Sertoma Club in this area to help with maintenance of these festivals. So that created what we call the Sertoma Ranch Hands Club, which is still viable today. And the original president of that, which is one of the members of Tampa East at that time, Danny Shad, was voted the president. So we started this club out, and it was like a 40-man club, and dropped now, but we still have enough members that continue, along with many hundreds of volunteers. And that is another thing that we might be able to get them as national members now. Even though they don't want to necessarily be a member of a club, but maybe they'll become a national member, and we'll work on that. So anyway, this is a picture here of our children's pavilion, which is almost brand new, just a year old, more older now. And that was a donation by a member from the Seaport Club, Brian Peterson. There's a picture of our new pavilion there, the 40 by 80 foot pavilion. And I don't know whether you can see that, but in the back end there is a big stage. The original stage, and this is the new stage with the new pavilion. The original stage came from the old Floraland Mall on Florida Avenue in Tampa. They were doing away with the mall, this country and western motive stage in the middle of the mall. And we had a guy in our club that would have contact and said, hey, we can get it for free. So we got a flatbed truck, hauled it up to the ranch and installed that stage. And that's what we used for many, many years until just recently. So there is a picture right straight in front of you is the Bluegrass Cafe. That's a full kitchen that we have. We have chairs and tables on the outside. We serve breakfasts, lunches, dinners for the various festivals. And to the right of that is one of the bathhouses, the original bathhouse, but that has been completely refurbished and brought up to modern standards. You have to remember this, some of these went back 47 years ago, so they were getting pretty well dilapidated and needed updated, obviously. Of course, we always have running water, so that wasn't too bad, I guess. So once a year at the ranch, we have, now here's another picture, start of it, of one of the 4 kids' days that we have each year for, and we'll have anywhere from 50 to 100 and 150 hearing disabled children and young adults. We bring them up there free of charge. We'll have a Bluegrass Festival for them. We have a box lunch dinner for them. We have hay rides around the area, and we have the dances for them. Excuse me, and we have during our Christmas Kids Day, here's another picture of them sitting around taking lessons. We have a Christmas theme, and that is we have Santa Claus rides in on a tractor or on top of the hayrack, whichever. And then we give out big stuffed animals to all the children and and the young adults. Some of these kids are wheelchair bound, as you see there. We have to help them up to put them in the hayride. And if you ever want to get a heart attack, and I don't mean that, but in a good way, to see these young people taking a hayride the first time in their life and having somebody help them and do for them. The expressions on their face, you will never forget. And this is what makes 51 years member for me pay for it. Another little picture of the playground that we have there. And this, of course, is all fenced off, as you see, so that there won't be any problem there. We have roughly 150 RV outlet areas, spots, with water and electric that we rent out at the festivals, and that's where we generate our funds to pay for the maintenance and all the other things that goes into keeping this facility going. We have no paid employees except for one, and that's the caretaker who lives on property. Here's a picture here of our Thanksgiving dinner that we have, which is free of charge for all Sertomans, and we have once a year, and then we have a Bluegrass Festival right following that, after the Thursday dinner. Here's a picture you can see of the Kids' Day and there's Santa Claus, and that year we even had a Mrs. Santa Claus. And one of our members played Mr. Santa Claus, and I think that year it was Steve Shand. That was Danny Shand's son. And he was the president for a number of years for us, of the ranch. The last few years, the ranch has been headed up by Betty Franz, a longtime member, her and her husband, who just passed away recently. So anyway, there's another picture. So anyway, if you want to become a member of the ranch, it's $35 a year, which entitles you to come up and camp for discounted rates. Now, you still, if it's a festival, you still have to pay and make reservations through the ranch and through the promoter, whoever's renting the ranch out for that. So anyway, that pretty well covers, I think, the information on the ranch. And we move along to we have, as you probably may or may not know, we have 4 state sponsorships. That is the Youth Ranch, Camp Endeavor, Speech and Hearing, which you'll hear from in a little bit from Deborah. And then we have the USF Scholarship for hearing impaired students who are going on to graduate studies in audiology and hearing aid sciences. That was started in 1983 by a fellow from the Greater Tampa, Sonoma, that Phil Amuso, who still heads it up. And he was a head of the Science and Behavior College there at USF. So anyway, we started that thing in 1983. And what the deal was if we could raise $100,000, the state would match the money and the fund, which is what we did. And that had created an endowment. Now from that endowment, it generates roughly, we give away, it generates a little more than that, but anyway, we give away 2 $5,000 scholarships to students going into graduate audiology studies. In fact, last week was when we just presented the last one to a young lady. We have a sealed nomination, which we judge on the merits of the qualifications. Only we do not know the name of the person or anything other than the fact that they are a student and their resume from university. Anyway, that was done last week for the last year. So we've been doing that for every year since we've been involved with that. About that time, by the way, I just want to bring up one thing. In 1983, also, almost during that time, we also developed another thing that wasn't a sponsorship, but it was just an ongoing thing, and that was the SHARP, SHARP, Sonoma Hearing Aid Recycling Program of hearing aids. Jim Weiss and myself started that, and we did that for a number of years, and we finally lost our contact that had the contact information with Social Security that would could qualify people for the hearing aids. So we then turned that all over to our Speech and Hearing Center, which you'll hear all about. Anyway, we had taken old hearing aids and redistributed them for free. So anyway, I think that we just about covers all of the things, the Camp Endeavor, the Sonoma Youth Ranch, and the USF Fellowship Fund. And I thank you and appreciate you all listening from here to Tennessee and Alabama. And I hope all of our folks were there in Laurel and in the Alabama area are safe and sound from the hurricane that went through. And I think it kind of got a little bit through Nashville or Chattanooga area. My two daughters that live up there said they were safe though yet. So we're doing okay. So thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure enlightening you to some of the old and some of the new history of these state sponsorships. Thank you so much.
Jesse, we do have one question for you from Beverly Weinsberg. She would like to know, how much is it to sponsor a camper?
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, what?
How much is it to sponsor a camper?
At Camp Endeavor, $500. Now it actually costs a little bit more than that, but that's what they state if you want to make a donation or support a child at $500.
All right. Well, at this point, that's the only question. So we'll give it back to Lucy.
Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you, Jesse. I can't wait till I can come over there and visit the camp. I'm really looking forward to that. I've learned a lot. Didn't realize you guys did so much. That's very interesting. Hopefully all of our clubs will be interested in sponsoring a camper. That's excellent. Thank you so much for that presentation. Next, we have our own Janice. She's going to teach us how to hold a virtual Sertoma meeting. Janice?
Well, thanks for having me. Let me get my my cheat sheet up here so I don't go totally off record. Thanks, Lucy, and hello, everyone. Since November of 2016, I've been a staff member here at Sertoma's home office in Kansas City. And I got to tell you, it's been an honor to work with so many Sertomans all across the U.S. I'm excited to be here today and talk with you a little bit about virtual meetings. Now, I don't know everything, so some of this I've been learning just like you guys have been when this all hit and when COVID started up, and it was a little bit unnerving for all of us. So if you're feeling a little nervous, don't worry about it because you're in good company. I'll have to admit, when COVID first started showing up in the headlines, I naively thought it would just run a news cycle or two and then just fade away once the next big story came along. Well, I think I was way off on that one. And when our local authorities here in Kansas City put orders in place stating which businesses could and couldn't be open and asked any of us that could work from home to do so, here at Sertoma headquarters, we packed up our workspaces, we loaded our cars, and we headed home. Some of our home offices got a little more crowded. I'd say my dining room table became a version of a Sertoma field office, and that's what my husband started calling it. But all of us settled in and we got back to work. Now that makes it sound like it was a fairly smooth transition, but let's just say there were a few hiccups at first, as we all tried to get the technology to play nice. But the wrinkles ironed out and we all adjusted. And during this work from home phase, we transferred our regular weekly staff meetings from when we sit around a big conference table to holding it virtually on Zoom. We also implemented the video conferencing functions of Microsoft Teams so we could hold our little quick meetings between 1 or 2 staff members. And while Zoom and Microsoft Teams are different platforms, they do have a similar purpose. They're designed to keep us all on the same page and help us run projects smoothly from a start to finish. It was a success we found using these virtual platforms that led us to our own aha moment when we thought, why not offer the National Sertoma Zoom account to conduct Sertoma club meetings? The board had been using it, staff had been using it, and so would a few of our specialists. So why not give it a whirl as a club meeting platform? So we got to work. once the particulars were ironed out and a process was ready to go, we were thrilled at how quickly the clubs were willing to give it a try. And today, I'm happy to announce we've had over 150 virtual club meetings held through the national account. That's just the ones we're hosting. Now, with conversations among other Sertomans, I can tell you that there are plenty of other club meetings going on using a variety of different platforms, just not ours, but that's okay. It doesn't matter what platform your club wants to use. What works best for one club may not be the best for your club. So do a little research on what's available. See what platforms might fit your needs better. Ask your members which virtual meeting platforms they've used and what's their opinion of each of them. Be sure to read the FAQ sections or the Getting Started pages on each of those platforms to help have a better understanding of which one might fit your meeting styles. Some of those platforms have free options, like Zoom. There's a personal free option, but it comes with limitations. So you have to keep those in mind. Zoom, for example, has a limit of, I believe it's 40 minutes or less, and at 40 minutes, it would just cut it off. Our national account doesn't have that limitation, which is one reason we thought it was a good offer to give our clubs. And because of that, it also doesn't have a limit on the number of attendees that can be part of it. And I gotta tell you, if a club ever does max out the attendee quantity number on the national Zoom account for one of their club meetings, you're gonna see your staff dancing out in the streets for joy at the next viral video, because that means you've got one huge club meeting going on, and that'd be awesome to see. So be sure to ask around and check out other available platforms like Facebook Rooms, Skype, Google Hangouts, Microsoft Teams, WebEx, GoToMeeting. Those are just a few. Decide which one best meets the needs of your club and its meeting style. Once you've chosen a meeting platform, it's time to take the new technology jitters a little less jittery so your meetings are as fun and positive as they always have been. Similar to most in-person meetings, there aren't any hard and fast rules to follow when holding a virtual meeting. Of course, there are considerations and decisions to make while planning, but following a few simple tips and guidelines can make it all run smoothly. But let's start with the basics. First, don't try to bite off too much too soon. Use the first meeting to simply get everyone joined in and comfortable with the new way of meeting. Say hello, walk through muting and unmuting with everybody, have each attendee turn their video off and on. It doesn't have to be fancy this first time around, and decisions can always wait until maybe the next meeting. Have everybody introduce themselves. Oh, wait, everybody probably already knows everybody. So maybe have a question ready and everybody have to answer it. Maybe you'll learn something new about your fellow club members. Second time around, third time around, raise the bar a little. You're a little past the jitters now, a little more relaxed, so don't be shy. Start trying out a new tool that comes with your chosen virtual meeting platform. Maybe you want to share your screen like we've been doing here today with PowerPoints or showing pictures. Most of the platforms have that kind of option. They also have things like polls or being able to raise your hands when you want to indicate there's a question. Q&As and chat threads are also common functionality things that are available. Just pick one each time you have a new club meeting and put it to the test. Run it through the ringer. See how everybody gets on board with it. Remember, practice makes perfect. Just don't try to do all the tricks at once. Planning isn't any different for a virtual meeting as it is your in-person meeting. But again, let's start simple the first time or two around. When you make the jump, it's okay to have some changes to what may have been a very set agenda format for in-person. Flexibility is the key with virtual meetings. For many clubs, food was a big part of their regular meetings. Now, well, until computers have become George Jetson approved, presenting each member with a hot meal just isn't in that computer wheelhouse yet, although I would like to see it happen. That doesn't mean you can't have a social hour after taking care of club business. Once the meeting is complete, give everybody 10 minutes to grab a beverage and then sit back down at the virtual table for some laughs and stories. Sure, it's a change, but all it takes is a little time and suddenly different changes into something that is familiar. So keep in mind that virtual and in-person meetings do have one big thing in common. Staying on topic is not always the easiest thing to do. If your club used to have a sergeant of arms to collect fines for those responsible for sending a meeting off the rails, or maybe having a meeting within a meeting, think outside the box and see what might be a good replacement for that in-person fine collection. Maybe the individual that gets caught has to have a Sertoma hat or t-shirt on during the next virtual club meeting. Maybe they have to sing a song or read a poem instead. Keeping those options on the comedic or of an uplifting type will help keep the smiles going on all around. Whatever you decide regarding an agenda, be sure to send it out to all of the invited attendees. Just because you've decided to hold virtual meetings for now doesn't mean your meeting content has to change though, but a little remodeling may not be a bad thing. During the first few virtual meetings, consider including short how-to sessions on your chosen meeting platform. Show how to raise your hand or turn your mute and unmute yourself and turn on and off your video. Include a presentation on community outreach and how to do so safely for those who are the most vulnerable during this pandemic. You might want to do a quick poll of members to see what new areas have cropped up because of COVID, where they could use some creative thinking input. Then invite presenters that will be able to speak to these new topics. Keeping attendance may or may not have been something that your club did in the past. What makes this an interesting practice now is the potential to be an eye-opening experience for everyone. Compare your virtual meeting attendance to in-person meeting attendance. Then start asking questions. Are more people able to be part of the meeting now? Does it change the demographics of your meeting attendees? Are members with young children able to attend a virtual meeting easier and more consistently than they do in-person meetings? Does the lack of available technology prevent others from joining in virtually? These are just a few of the things worth the time to consider and see what they can shed light on. You may find eventually a hybrid of virtual and in-person club meetings is the perfect way to have the best of everything and help grow your club by making it easier for everyone to attend. Along with technology jitters also comes the dreaded stomach butterflies. To be honest, it does seem a little strange to make a virtual presentation and not see a physical audience right in front of you. While speaking during for example, say a Zoom meeting where you can see everyone, remember to look at others' faces on your screen when they are visible. It'll feel more natural to you and you'll appear a little less awkward. Remember that hiccups of the technology kind happen to everyone. We've had a few today because we're all learning, and just don't let it get you flustered. Take a breath, pick up where you left off, no worries. And just as with in-person meetings, during a virtual club meeting, be sure to include others when running it. This goes a long way toward keeping the meeting flowing, keeping it fresh and fun. We've done that today with several of us taking different pieces. That way it keeps it from being too much on anyone's shoulders. And when you are talking, remember to be concise and to the point when speaking to keep everyone engaged and focused. As a virtual meeting attendee, don't be afraid to be seen and heard when it is appropriate and allowed. But like our parents told us when we were little, don't interrupt others. Raise your hand virtually or visually and wait to be recognized. You wouldn't leave for an in-person club meeting without making sure you were dressed appropriately and that there is no little green specks of broccoli stuck in your teeth. The same goes for attending a virtual meeting. And the broccoli thing may be even more important here because if you're right in front of your webcam, it's gonna show up big. Of course, you might not have to worry about the shoes and the fuzzy slippers can stay on, but you know, we try to be prepared. So if an agenda is provided, review it before you join. If you're accessing the meeting by computer, try not to be distracted by smartphones and tablets or reading a book, watching TV, or fixing dinner and cleaning up after a meal. Give whoever's speaking the attention just as you would an in-person meeting. And access the meeting a few minutes before the start time, so any technology speed bumps you might hit can be dealt with. Locate yourself in an area where the chance for interruption is reduced as much as possible. If you're sitting in a high traffic area within your home, you might find out that you have kids, pets, spouses, neighbors out the window, mowers outside. All those things can be distracting for everyone. And remember to be polite. It's just as important virtually as it is in person. And at first, many people expressed concern that virtual meetings were less personal than an in-person meeting. But during the past few months, we've all had to branch out from necessity. From in-person meetings at regular locations, such as restaurants and clubhouse, our virtual meetings have taken us into living rooms and offices, kitchens, and backyard patios. We've met cats and dogs, kids, significant others of our Sertoma friends, and it's all been done while attending club meetings. In some ways, we've expanded our understanding of each other by learning that we're each more than just an individual sitting in a chair at a familiar location. We're all part of families, we have home lives, we have pets and kids, extended families, hobbies, and the list goes on. Maybe, just maybe, we are getting to know each other a little better by connecting through a different way. Thank you for having me, and have a little virtual fun. If anybody has any questions, be sure and put them in the Q&A. And if you're interested and haven't had a virtual club meeting yet and you're interested in using the National Zoom account, be sure and go to the Member Center, and under Club Resources, there's a link that you can go to submit your reservation request. You'll receive an email with all of the information you need, the link, and phone numbers for those that want to just call in on the meeting. It'll all be right there for you to send out to those you want to attend. I know we've had a few clubs that have had, they do their club meetings as well as their board meetings, and it's been really a great way to, they've had more people showing up, so it's could be a very good thing. And I don't see any questions, so I'm going to give it back to Lucy.
Thank you, Janice.
Thank you, and thanks for letting me come.
Thank you, Janice. I appreciate it. And speaking of virtual meetings, if any of you do have any virtual meetings, since I can't join you personally, please send me an invitation to your virtual meetings. I have attended some of your virtual meetings and I would like to attend more. So just send me links to your meetings and I would love to attend them. Okay. Next, speaking of our state sponsorships, we have Deborah, who's going to speak to us about our Speech and Hearing Foundation of Florida. Deborah?
Deborah, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's try that again. Hi, I'm Deborah Galinsky. Good afternoon, fellow Sertomans. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to present on the Sertoma Speech and Hearing Foundation of Florida. As Jesse mentioned, we are part of the Florida State Sponsorship and have been for years. Just to give you a little update, we've served over 27,000 people this year throughout 40 counties in the state of Florida. It's a big accomplishment for us. Our personal organizational goal this year was to do 42 counties. With all the challenges, COVID-19 and several others, we are happy to say we accomplished the 40 out of the 42 we planned. So we're very proud of that achievement. We've touched the lives again of over 27,000 people. We participate each year to show the impact of what our efforts are throughout the community, throughout the state. Is the last 2 years, we participate in a state-sponsored nonprofit evaluation. And what that does is it takes all the services that you provide, it does some fancy calculations, and it gives you a dollar figure which represents the free services that you've given to the needy throughout your state. And last year, we were able to achieve over $4 million worth of free services. I will tell you, when we first completed that calculation, we did it 3 times because we were really surprised that it was over $4 million. This year, we have exceeded that number, even with all the challenges, and we've increased it by $180,000, making our total this year of free services that we provided a total dollar amount of $4,259,219.31. I'm not sure exactly where the 31 cents came in, but we're very proud of that. And right now I'd like to go ahead and share our screen, maybe, yes, and show you some of the faces of the people that we're able to serve and affect their lives this year. Our first screen is one of our members, Emily, who is screening little Klaus for his newborn screenings, hearing screening test. In the state of Florida, as I'm sure in many states, it's a mandate that all newborns be provided with a free hearing screening. The children that fall through those cracks are the children that are born at home and the children that are delivered in a home birthing center. So Klaus was one of those. It took a while for the parents to get to us. We are listed on the state documents of organizations that provide the service, and Klaus is 9 months old. So for me, it's kind of sad that it took so long for the parents to take action to make sure that their child could hear. We will be providing the results to the parents on Klaus. And by the way, for those people from Citrus, Klaus is from Citrus County, so that we can move forward and help him with the services he's going to need. The next slide I have is, this is Risa, the lady standing up. She's one of our audiologists. She primarily focuses on pediatrics. And this is George. He's a teenager, so that's always a challenge. He's gonna help her do it by putting on his earphones. And teenagers and other students usually arrive to our clinic when they've failed a screening test. So she's gonna perform the full evaluation for George. And some of our other delightful children are from our early intervention, daycare, pre-K, Head Start programs, which we serve them all. And these are little children who are holding their machines and who delight in listening to them. They kind of sound like a robot when it sends the noise through, the sound waves through, so that we can test their hearing. And this is just a sampling of the over 26,000 children we do with this particular program. Doug is one of our audiologists, and he's evaluating Barbara's hearing. Most of our patients that are seniors do need some sort of amplification, and we provide that. We do collect the hearing aids to be reconditioned, or we turn some to salvage to help us offset the cost of new ones. Barbara today will be getting new hearing aids so that she can hear all of her friends, communicate with her doctors. and just have a greater quality of life. During the COVID-19 mandatory work at home program, it gives us some great opportunities to develop different projects, to really look into what else can we do to serve hard of hearing people in the state of Florida. And we've always done a very small literacy program. So it was an opportunity to develop that, to share books with children, to record some online activities, and really still connect with our families, our supporters, all of the people that make our projects work. So one of the ones that we did was the lady here, her name is Teresa, she works for me, and her and Emily created the literacy program, and it's a read along. So we filmed it, we recorded it, we provided to any family in the state that wanted to participate, and we also provided it to the early intervention groups like the daycares, Head Start, those type of people. And here's Teresa, she's dressed as Moana. If you have grandchildren or children, Moana is a hot item this year. And so this little girl, this was a child, and I believe she was in Tampa, that we actually visited. We did a lot of home deliveries if it was available for the family. And this little girl, as you can see, lives in Section 8 housing. She's holding her Moana book. We have a partner locally who gives us toys from time to time. We are thankful for that donation. So as you can see, hopefully you can see, there's a little camera there that takes real pictures. So we gave them each a camera. We also gave them, the 2 boxes is a box of snacks, and the other one is a box of food, assorted food items. And then they did A Bad Case of Stripes, which is another popular book these days. So Teresa has a different outfit on. She's put polka dots and stripes. You can't really see them that well, but to go along with the book, we also recorded it. We edited the film. We have a lot of great background in it. And this is a daycare that has turned on our video, has linked to it. They're watching it. We donated a book for the daycare library. We also sent snack and food supplies. And we also created activities for each book. And this shows them working on their Stripes book activity, which had a lot of coloring projects, games, all type of great activities for our children. And we're always extremely happy to have this face-to-face relationship. COVID has made it a little harder, and I'll show you in just a minute some of the things we've done to remedy that. We did have our challenges like everybody else, and we lost fundraiser opportunities. Everything except for the Bucks raffle was canceled. Bucks raffle is a little challenge right now too. We lost events that give us that connection opportunity, the network, the partnership opportunities, and we partner with a lot of groups focused on early intervention. So again, we did go to, and I don't have a picture of this one, but we did also identify several groups that were very, very poor. A lot of them are primarily migrant workers. So we focused on those groups. We called their local food bank. We brought items to the food banks, but in those selective daycare projects where the children were still there, we actually brought gift bags filled with food for the entire family, and including, some treats, some fruit roll-ups, those type of things to be able to feed the family, at least for one day, and assorted literacy programs. And we are extremely proud of all the lives we've touched, even during these challenging times. We did, as a result of the lack of funding that we had this year, we were planning for the 4th van towards the magnificent 7 of 7 vans and outreach groups serving the entire state. We also run a clinic at our home facility in Pasco County. One of the other items that we added to offset some of these challenges is we connected with something called Bidding Owl, and their website is simply biddingowl.com. And we're using that as an online auction. Most online auction programs are very expensive and they charge you upfront fees. They charge you percentages. We aren't in a position to be able to afford that. So with Bidding Owl, we've set up an auction, a drawing for Spirit airline tickets. If you're ready to travel, you might want to look at those. If you're interested in assisting us, it is on our website, which is www.familyhearinghelp.org/fundraiser. And obviously, we will appreciate your help. In moving forward, I don't want to show that slide yet. In moving forward, the year 2020 will certainly be a memorable year for everyone. And we have dealt with a worldwide epidemic, canceling of our events, decline of fundraising dollars, decline of grant dollars because those dollars have been refocused to COVID-19 projects, which they should be. However, here at Sertoma Speech and Hearing Foundation, we're meeting the challenges, we're creating new opportunities for networking, for promoting additional projects, and to enhance our organization, to serve more children and adults in these crazy times, and to press forward with our focus for the children. And today we kind of look like this. Hopefully you can see it clearly. Our 3 vans are behind. 3 of our staff members who are dressed in the PPE, the personal protection equipment that we've received through state programs. And it consists of a hospital gown, a mask, a shield, gloves, etc. Because we are still out there every day serving people, whether it's in daycares that provide programs for essential workers. We just got a call yesterday to come back to do the pre-K, the Head Start, pre-Head Start. The school systems that we work with are up and running. So we are full force ahead in delivering our mission for the future. Thank you for this opportunity to present to you today. And does anyone have any questions? Hello?
Well, it doesn't appear to have any questions coming in.
Okay.
We'll turn it back over to Lucy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. That was very informative. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Our next preventer is someone that we all know and love, our own Kathy Tragan, and she's going to speak to us on membership retention. Thank you, Kathy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to my home, Sertoma room. In case you're wondering, most of the trophies and memories that you see adorn the wall belong to my husband. I do have a few, but they're over on the side wall. I have to share with you, I would much rather be doing this on a Sertoma cruise, standing in front of all of you. I'm actually more nervous talking to myself at a Sertoma screen than I've ever been standing in the midst of Sertoma friends. But if wish me luck, I'm going to try to do my best. I've been asked to talk today about Sertoma membership retention, and I feel I have some credibility on this topic since I myself personally became a charter member of the Tampa Gem Sertoma Club 34 years ago. During that time, I have seen members come and go, but I've also seen many members come and stay and remain active members of the club. So how can that be? Same club, same activities. Well, we have to remember that people do have different interests and they do have different goals. So the trick is for a club to find members that are interested in their common goals and their activities. So once you do, I'm going to try to get into my PowerPoint now, so wish me luck. So what influences an individual and their decision to remain a member? It's all about how belonging to the club will make them feel. So in this presentation, I'm going to identify some of those feelings that most likely will influence an individual to stay with the club. Likewise, some of the steps that can be taken by a club to instill those feelings.
So we're there. It was seeing your screen. You might want to unshare and then start again.
Okay, so stop share. And what you want me to start again, right?
Yeah, I might start. Just get back to that. Just share that. Try sharing that PowerPoint window again.
Okay, so we share and share. No, we actually had practice, everyone, and it went great during practice.
We did. We got it there.
I did it 3 times. Okay, so let's see. Share screen. Share. And are you seeing the retention screen or nothing at this time?
For me, I'm just seeing the screen that says that you're sharing. I have not seen this yet. Okay, Beverly saw it. And they've got it. They're good.
I can
It's just me.
I can see
We're
it.
good.
All right, now I need to get back to it.
Yep.
Let's see, here we go to slideshow from the beginning. Okay, an individual joins the club when they're impressed by some feature of the club. It could be sponsorship activities, fun social, fun meetings, impressive fundraising event, an interesting program speaker.
Go back to sharing your screen again, go back to share your screen again.
Oh, so you don't see this?
Go back to share your screen because we saw it. He didn't see it, but we saw it.
Okay, do you see me on the screen now?
Yeah, I see you, but go back to share your screen again.
Okay, and I'm going to go to the share screen to share.
Okay, good. That's good.
You have retention?
Yes.
All right. So what influences an individual and their decision to remain a member? It's all about how belonging to the club makes them feel. An individual joins a club when they are impressed by some feature of the club. It could be a sponsorship activity, fun social and fun meetings, impressive fundraising event, or interesting program speaker. At this time, when they join, they feel membership could be worthwhile. Whatever attracted their attention, it impressed them enough to join. What is going to convince them they made the right decision? Let's look at how the following can make a member feel. Club meetings, sponsorship, fundraising, social activities, personal involvement, Sertoma benefits for fellowship. At this time, I'd like to point out that this pandemic is not going to last forever. We are going to be returning to somewhat normal activities and fun meetings. So I'm going to be first addressing what we will do back when we are meeting regularly. And at the end, I will address some things about what we can do during this pandemic. But for now, let's look at club meetings. When a member comes to a meeting and is greeted, a member feels welcomed. When meetings start and end on time, an agenda is followed and business is conducted professionally, a member feels impressed. Club knows what it's doing. Members won't feel their time is going to be wasted. When a membership vice president recognizes birthdays, club anniversaries, or shares news of those who are sick, member feels clubs care about each other. When someone misses a meeting for whatever reason, and someone calls to see how they are doing, member feels, wow, they care about me. When club has program speakers present various topics of interest at the meetings, member feels club is keeping them well informed. When the sergeant at arms has fun finds and laughter is shared among the members, members feel that meeting was fun and no doubt will look forward to the next meeting. When it comes to sponsorship, fundraising, and social activities, when the VP or committee chair of that activity takes time to find out the member's interest and invites them to participate with specific responsibilities, a member feels needed. Upon implementation and completion of activity, member feels a personal sense of satisfaction. Even more importantly, members enjoyed the feeling of working side by side with other members. Feeling of accomplishment should be stressed that they were able to do it together. They realized that what was achieved could not have been done on their own. They have to feel they made a difference because they belong to a club that provides service to mankind. Frosting on the cake is when the VP or committee chair sincerely thanks members for their contribution. There are times when public recognition could be warranted. Does your club have a Sertoman of the Day where a member is recognized at meetings for what they do? Trust me, nothing compares to the feeling of being appreciated. Personal involvement. Club involvement will vary. Some members participate in almost every activity, some for whatever reason and only a few. Most important, every member feels valued, no matter how much or how little they contribute. If a member feels the club activities provide them with an opportunity to use their God-given talents, then they will feel their contribution is worthwhile. So current leadership should be encouraging members to accept positions of future leadership. Maybe a member has shown an interest, or maybe they portrayed leadership skills in some activity in which they participated. When asking a member to accept a club leadership position, sometimes all it will take is an offer to mentor or to assure a member of club support. Also support from national office. They might not be aware there are training modules and manuals on website. And when a member who has accepted a position is elected or appointed to a club leadership position, that member is going to feel accepted by their peers. Sertoma benefits. Important members know all benefits Sertoma membership. I've listed just a few of the items here, which I'm not going to read, but we should all be aware of them and our members should be aware of them. If they are, they're going to feel the value of their dues and why they belong to a Sertoma club rather than volunteering on their own or belonging to another organization. It's important that every member is registered on the Sertoma website. When you go to the Sertoma website as a member, you have access to a Sertoma membership directory, to numerous training modules and manuals, and forms and instruction and guidance in all areas. When something cannot be found on the website, assure members assistance from the national office staff and Sertoma specialists are only a phone call away. Members will definitely feel their needs are being taken care of. And don't forget our Sertoma national and regional elections. Every Sertoma now has the privilege to vote. The only requirements is that the club is in good standing, that the members are in good standing, and the members have the opportunity to vote online if they're registered on the website, or they can mail in ballots found in Sertoma Communications. Every member should feel their vote is valued. Fellowship. Last of all, you cannot underestimate one of the strongest factors that will bond a member to a club, the feeling of fellowship. Friendships are formed when members share common interest, work side by side, enjoy fun times together, and come to really care about each other. History has shown members have continued to meet as a club because of their friendships, even when other club activities have gone by the wayside. The acronym of Sertoma is Service to Mankind, and that includes caring for our members. We are a Sertoma family, and members are always first to respond when it comes to helping one another. I have experienced that totally firsthand. And words cannot describe the feeling one has when you find yourself in need and your fellow members are there for you. To feel so loved and cared for is a feeling one will never forget. It's still emotional when I think of how my club was there for me when John went through his illness and passed away. I'll be a Sertoma till the day I die. So what do we do during the pandemic? How do your members feel about your club? Utilizing this time of pandemic to get to know each other through personal calls might be the best way to form that fellowship. Evaluate your club activities at this time. Do they make your members feel good? Are there other ideas members may feel they'd like to explore? Now is a perfect time to find out what everyone likes and to get suggestions of how things could be even better. Let members feel their opinion matters. And Zoom meetings. We learned so much great information from Janice. It's a great way to keep in touch. And it's made possible by our national office. Learn how it works and schedule one via the Sertoma website. And the Sertoma COVID Relief Grant, isn't that awesome? To replace a canceled fundraiser? Learn all about it on the Sertoma website. And attending conventions via a virtual webinar by registering on the Sertoma website. How convenient for all of us to have that opportunity at no cost to us. Members have to feel the Sertoma National Office is doing their best to support clubs during this time. Pertinent training modules. I hope that I have shared some things that will make you be helpful with the club, but also check out these valuable training modules found on the Sertoma website that will give you more insight into what your club can do to ensure membership retention. Proud to be a Sertoman. In closing, remember to never underestimate the power of feelings. When each member feels they are truly cared about, are valued, are needed, and are appreciated, they will feel proud to be a Sertoman. I've added a little retention disclaimer. Remember to never stop recruiting and giving others the opportunity to feel good about belonging to your club and giving them the opportunity to make a difference in service to mankind. Well, that ends my presentation. We made it, yay! So if there's any questions, I'm just glad to answer them. And I do wish all of you a blessed day in service to mankind, and may you enjoy the rest of your webinar convention seminar. I take it there's no question. So Lucy, back to you. Bye, everyone. I love you.
Thank you, Kathy. That was awesome as always. Thank you so very, very much. You're awesome. Welcome back, everyone. I think everything has been awesome up to this time, and I want to thank everyone that has been our presenters. I want to thank you all. You've done an excellent job. Thank you so much for being here and presenting. Now I want to bring back Gretchen, our Senior VP, and our board representative. She is now going to do a presentation on Moments Matter. Gretchen?
Hello, everybody. Let me get this all shared with you. All right, I had the opportunity to present this session at our national convention, and I want to thank Lucy for giving me another opportunity to reach out to some more Sertomans and share this information. As Lucy said, my name is Gretchen Nielsen, and I am currently serving as your National Senior Vice President of Sertoma. And today I want to take a few minutes to explore how we as clubs can add get volunteers to help out at our events, and then even potentially turn those volunteers into new members. Each of our clubs across this country and Canada have lots of opportunities to make moments matter in our communities. We've all heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So what is the first impression people get when they look at your club? Is it inviting and interesting? Does it draw people in and make them want to work with you? When thinking about inviting people to help out with your club's events, how can you entice them? Many people in this day and age are looking for ways to give back in their communities. So what about your club makes them want to help? First, to start this off, I want to kind of explore a little bit about why people volunteer. In order to learn how to add volunteers to your club's events, we really need to look at why people are choosing to volunteer. People choose to volunteer for a variety of reasons. For some, it offers the chance to give something back to a community or make a difference to the people around them. For others, it provides an opportunity to develop new skills or build on existing experience and knowledge. Regardless of the motivation, what unites them all is that they can find it both challenging and rewarding. So I've got a little short video. Didn't get the chance to share it at the national level, but we figured it out. So if you'll give me a few minutes, I want to share this information with you. Oops, hold on. I got to get right where, come on.
I think volunteering is important because you need to show that you can give back to the community and just lend a helping hand to help those who are maybe less fortunate out.
Well, I think it's important to give back to your community. If we all take, then what's left?
I think it's important because it gives you a sense that you're a part of something, and it makes you feel more connected.
I guess it would create a better sense of community, people being less selfish.
I think volunteering is important because you can make a difference in other people's lives, and in return, like you think you're doing something so great for someone, and then in return you just get so much satisfaction and reward from it.
It shows people that you don't have to always want money.
You know, a lot of people are blessed with a lot of different gifts and material things, and I think it believes that we should share that with others.
It's really nice to just give back and help others out.
And I think it's one of the reasons why we've been put on this planet, is to help other people.
I think people think it's too hard, and they think it's going to take up a lot of their time, but I don't really think it does.
If you really sit down and analyze it, I think we could all make time to do something like this.
Otherwise, you're just sitting on the couch and watching TV, so you might as well get out.
You could volunteer with just a small portion of maybe lending a little bit of time, a little bit of money, whatever it may be, in different forms.
Makes me feel like I'm making a worthwhile contribution to society.
It just more sense of purpose and just showing that you're out there to help other people.
It made me feel very gratified. It made me feel that that I was doing something worthwhile.
It takes away the attention from yourself, puts it on another person.
Not because you're looking, for some kind of joy or something for yourself, but it just kind of happens that way, that you get something out of return of volunteering.
It's kind of like exercising. Once you do it, you're just like, oh, I feel good. And it's kind of neat because you get to meet so many cool people that do it too, and it's just a good community.
There's a lot of studies that have been done. People that volunteer and help others, you live longer actually. It's good for your heart, it's good for your mind, good for your spirit. You're welcome.
That it? Yeah.
You're welcome.
So as you can see, there's lots of benefits. And I think that we have more people than ever nowadays who are really and truly looking for ways that they can give back. They're looking for that feel-good moment. So what are the benefits of volunteering? Volunteering is good for you. There are studies that show that volunteering actually relieves tension. Anytime we take time out of our own lives to help others, it takes that focus off of things that are going on in our own lives and our own problems. So my club has a Meals on Wheels route, and twice a month we deliver Meals on Wheels. When the pandemic started and we went into quarantine, we continued to deliver Meals on Wheels. It went to a contactless Meals on Wheels. We would put the meals on the porch, knock on the door, and simply walk away. One of the times that I went to deliver Meals on Wheels with another member from my club, a local church had given us care packages. And in the care package was a 4-pack of toilet paper, hand sanitizer, a little bit of candy, and a note that just said, "We are praying for you." The very last house that we delivered to we delivered the meals to, we set the meal down, we set the care package down, knocked on the door, and as we were walking away, the lady came out on her front porch. When she saw the care package, she began to cry. And she said, "You do not understand how much this means to me, because I was down to the last roll of toilet paper in my house, and I have no way of getting out right now because I cannot be out in the public. And I was starting to worry because I have no family members close to me, and I didn't know how I was going to get toilet paper." The club member that was with me when we got back into our car to drive off, she said, "This breaks my heart that there are people in our community who have nobody else except a complete stranger who's bringing them the things that they need." That took the focus off of what we were dealing with and realizing I can go to the store. Now, granted, we couldn't find a lot of toilet paper at the time, but I have the means to. My other club members had the means to. Just the plain and simple fact that getting to volunteer like that gives us that opportunity to feel better about ourselves and understand that even when we think our lives are horrible, there are people out there who truly, truly have issues, who do not have a support system. And being a volunteer helps us to give a support system to those who don't have it. Volunteering gives greater perspective and self-awareness. We all have issues that we deal with, and sometimes we just need to see that there are others out there that put us into perspective. Volunteering can help you stay healthy. Sometimes we just need a little motivation to get up and get going. I know my club we have a section of highway, their road that we pick up trash on, and I groan and go, oh, I don't want to go do it. But then when I get there and I get out in the sunshine and I'm with my sisters of Sertoma and we're moving and we're laughing at some of the things that we find as we're picking up trash, my day gets better. I enjoy the opportunity to get out and walk that section of highway and pick up the trash that people have left. Volunteering has never been easier. We have search engines at our fingertips. You can type something into Google and get pages and pages of things that you can do. You get questions answered at the drop of the hat. So this goes to me speaking about what is your club's social media presence. If somebody types in hearing health, does your club pop up? Does your Facebook page show up? Are you putting things out there so that members of your community know what's going on and know that there are opportunities with your club to volunteer in your community? Volunteering has never been easier. That's what sorry, brain cells, I'll get there. Volunteering creates empowerment. Paying it forward in this day and age is something that we're all familiar with. Some of us may have been in line in our cars at the Starbucks only to get to the window and find out that the person in front of us has paid for our coffee. It then in turn gives us an opportunity to do the same thing for the car in line behind us. We just have to know that there are ways that we can give a helping hand, because some of us may have been in that situation ourselves in the past. Doing good is important. In our society today, we are overwhelmed with the news of what is going on around us. That wasn't true 20 years ago. You didn't get information at the drop of the hat, but now we're there. Sometimes we get stories that make us go, oh, that's so neat. I love that people are doing that. But unfortunately, more often than not, all we're hearing is the depressing and sometimes scary things that are going on in the world around us. Volunteering can offer unique and exciting opportunities. Sometimes we may volunteer for something without realizing exactly what we might get out of it. So when you are inviting these volunteers to come and join your club at your events, you need to make sure that it's unique, it's exciting, that they feel needed, that they feel useful, and that they walk away going, that was so much fun, I can't wait to do it again. 8 says meeting like-minded, motivated people is super easy. I'm going to come back to that one, so we're going to skip right on to number 9. Number 9 says volunteering sets a good example for others. Are you a talk the talk kind of person or a walk the walk kind of person? It's really easy for us to sit around and talk about what's going on in our community and discuss the needs of our community members that we can meet, but do we get up, get out, and do something about it is what we need to look at. It's a good way to bridge the gap between yourself and others who may perceive you as different. In this day and age of social media and news at our fingertips, we need to learn to see the issues from the other person's point of view. Do you take the time to see both sides of the story, or do you make up your mind immediately? Working with others from a variety of backgrounds can give us perspectives on the world around us. So even as a club, you may want to not look for volunteers, but to serve as volunteers for another organization that would give you perspective on perhaps their point of view. Number 11 says volunteering is a great way to build a resume. While we do not always think about what volunteering can do for us professionally, sometimes it's a great step to a promotion or even a better job. I interviewed for my current teaching position, and at the end of the interview, my now principal asked me, is there anything else that we need to know about you that would help us understand who you are and what you bring to the table that's different? And I got to share Sertoma and my opportunity to be out in my community of helping others, and the fact that I can bring that to high school students. I can help them understand that we all have something that we can give back. That story got me my job. And 6 years later, I'm still getting the opportunity to help my kids understand how important it is to give back to their community. It doesn't have to be a financial donation. It can be a donation of their time. We are seeing more and more young people getting interested in giving back because somebody at some point gave to them and they want to pay that back and help somebody else. The last benefit of volunteering I want to talk about is there's a personal tie to the cause. If there is a connection between the volunteer person and your own life, you will find it even more satisfying. Why would people choose to volunteer for an organization they don't have a personal connection to? With more opportunities to volunteer than ever, finding something that matches your passions is simply a few keystrokes away on Google. But Gretchen, why should we care about the reasons people volunteer? Let's go back to number 8. Meeting like-minded, motivated people is super easy. When we begin to think about adding volunteers to our events, we should look for people that fit that description. We can then match volunteers to specific events. Putting people in the right positions will not only ensure that they get something out of the experience, but that they will hopefully come back over and over. No one wants to do something if they have no connection to it, or if they do not feel like they are getting something in return. Look for volunteers that have a connection to your event. I wish I had a perfect list of places to find volunteers for your event. As we all know, each of our communities are different. We do not have the same opportunities for getting volunteers. Some great options are local high schools or college. I know that my club utilized our local JROTC program at the high school when we needed assistance with our flag program. Other great options might be Boys and Girls Club, Boys or Girl Scout troops, fraternities and sororities, different clubs at high school, local high schools and colleges. Even places that assign community hours might be a good option. One great option I can suggest is the Sertoma Members Corner on Facebook. This is a great place where Sertomans from all over can connect and share ideas with each other. Do you have something that has really worked for your club, or are you looking to solve an issue you've been struggling with? Let me invite you to join other Sertomans on the Sertoma Member Corner and share your experience or look for advice, because together we are stronger than we could ever be alone. Now what? Okay, so you got some really great volunteers, and they come back to event after event to help out. Is that all there is to this? I don't think there are many, if any, Sertoma clubs who are not looking for more members. But if we think about reason number 8 for why people volunteer, meeting like-minded, motivated, positive people, then we can answer that question, now what? You've given them a taste of what it means to be not only part of your club, but hopefully Sertoma as a whole. You've hooked them, so now it's time to reel them in. Now that first impression comes into play. Not only do you want them to enjoy the volunteer experience, but you want them to see that your club fits into their idea of what giving back looks like. What does your club's first impression look like? Are you appealing to others? Does it make volunteers want to do more, or even perhaps come and join your club? All right, so that's what I've got for you today. I hope that this information can be really helpful. I know that right now we're kind of all struggling because we're losing those opportunities in our communities due to the pandemic, but there are still ways that we can help. There are still people who need us, and there are still people out there who want to give back. So I hope that you can see the need for adding volunteers to your organization. Any questions, comments, stories that speak to this? Did everybody go to lunch and not tell me you were going to lunch?
It looks like you covered all the bases.
Okay, cool, awesome. Anybody who has any information, I will put my email in the chat room. I would love to reach out to you, and let's have a wonderful conversation just about how you can. I think that this really speaks to what Kathy just told us about retaining members. We have to do the same things. When you make your volunteers feel needed and wanted, we have to do the same thing with our membership. If your members don't feel like they're a part of the club, then you're going to lose them. I hate to say it, but they will walk away and find another way to give back. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Gretchen. And a great way to get a new member is when you have a fundraiser, the best thing to do is invite a new member to your fundraisers as a volunteer. That way you're showing this member exactly what you guys are doing, and they see how you're working for the community. And when they see what your club does and how you're giving back to your community, that's the best way to get a new member, is showing how you're working for your community. And once they see what you guys are doing and how hard you're working, then they are willing to do and help you do that. So that's the best way to get a new member, is get them involved in what you're doing first before you say, hey, you want to join my club? So if you have any questions for Gretchen, get in touch with her. She'll be glad to help you.
Thanks, y'all.
Okay, on to our awards, our Service to Mankind and to our Sertoman of the Year. First of all, I want to thank all you clubs that did send in your recipients. I use a committee that I've used for a decade when I was the governor. I have a committee that I turn all my recipients over to them. I didn't get as many as I normally do because of the pandemic. A lot of you clubs didn't have either a Service to Mankind or Sertoman of the Year, but we did get a few. And it was difficult for the committee that I did have, but they did come up with our Service to Mankind and our Sertoman of the Year. I did pick a couple of people in the club to read the bios of the winners. So I'd like to call on Neil Smith from Five Flags Sertoma. He's going to read the bio for our Sertoman of the Year. Neil?
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Lucy, can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay. Everybody else, I assume, can. What a great day. What a great day to be a Sertoman. I'm so happy to be a part of this convention. It's wonderful what I've heard today, and I really appreciate what everybody's had to say. It also gives me a pleasure to be able to read the presentation of the Southeastern Region 2020 Sertoman of the Year. The Sertoman of the Year is the top recognition a club can bestow upon one of its members. The award is based on the member's lifetime contributions to Sertoma and the community. The primary criteria for club and regional Sertoman of the Year award are club activities, leadership, community involvement, and other noteworthy activities. The Five Flags Sertoma Club award winner and nominee for regional Sertoman of the Year is Danny Kepner, who has made his mark with significant achievements in each of these areas. Danny joined Five Flags Sertoma Club of Pensacola, Florida in July of 1978 and is a life member of the club. He has been actively involved in all the club's fundraising activities over the years, including the Turkey Trot, which is a 10K run at Thanksgiving, Springfest, a huge musical extravaganza, an annual art auction, a reverse raffle, golf and bowling tournaments, a chili cook-off, and the Wreaths Across America campaign. His participation in these and other events has continued to the present with committee and board meetings, behind-the-scene coordination, and tirelessly supporting all of the Five Flags activities and fundraisers. Danny has held several important leadership roles in our club. He was our club secretary in 2015-16, followed by a year as president in 2016-17. Then in 2018-19, and again in 2019-20, he graciously served as our treasurer, one of the most demanding and time-consuming as well as responsible positions in the club. And now he has agreed to be our president once again in 2020 and 2021. Danny has also served on the 4th of July committee in 2018-19. Five Flags Sertoma is the driving force for the 4th of July activities for the city of Pensacola each year, which includes fireworks, music, various food and beverage and arts and crafts vendors, and children's areas. Danny also participates every year in the Wreaths Across America campaign in December, which involves the laying of wreaths on the graves of fallen veterans buried at the Barrancas National Cemetery at the Pensacola Naval Air Station. Additionally, he participates in the delivery of food baskets to those in need in December during the busy holiday season. Whenever the club has a need for volunteers, Danny has always been more than willing to participate and lend his expertise wherever needed to bring our projects to a successful conclusion. Danny has recruited over his many years in Sertoma a number of new members who have become integral parts of our club. One member in particular moved through the club officer chairs, including president twice, and then rose to foundation representative and subsequently to district governor. Because of many of these new members he helped assimilate into our club, we have been able to grow and achieve great things as one of the outstanding clubs in our region over the years. His involvement and leadership have been evidenced in other community activities as well. Danny is a former Red Cross volunteer and has also served as the chairman of the local board. He has participated in Leadership Pensacola, served as a board member and a chairman of the Private Industry Council, and has led the advisory council for the local Boy Scouts Law Explorer program. He served for many years in the nonprofit Speech and Hearing Board, 2 of which as its chairman. As an active member of Olive Baptist Church, he has served at different times as president of the church corporation, chairman of the deacons, and also as the chair of the missions committee. Danny is admitted to practice in all Florida state courts and has been board certified in civil trial practice for over 30 years. He has served as secretary of the Escambia County and Santa Rosa County Bar Associations, chairman of the local Florida Bay Grievance Committee, chairman of the statewide Florida Bar Clients Security Fund Committee, and a grader of Florida Bar examinations. He has served as a master in the Pensacola Inns of Court and is a former member of the First Circuit Senior Judges Review Board. During law school, he was a member of Florida State University's Intercollegiate Moot Court team and a co-author of the law school's Legal Research Handbook. Finally, as a veteran of the Vietnam conflict, he spent 4 years on active duty in the U.S. Navy, which subsequently brought him to Pensacola. In December 2019, Danny retired from the practice of law. In July of this year, Danny celebrated his 50th wedding anniversary to his wonderful wife, Brenda. He and Brenda have 3 children and 4 grandchildren living in Pensacola. Danny is enjoying his retirement by playing golf and fishing with grandchildren, although the coronavirus has delayed those plans and activities for a while. It is therefore an honor and privilege for the Southeast region to present the Regional Sertoman of the Year Award to Danny Kepner. With this honor, our region would also place Danny as our nominee for the National Sertoman of the Year Award. I'd love to be able to hear you guys clap, but I'll clap for you here on my end. Congratulations, Danny, if you're listening. That's the end of my presentation.
Danny is listening if you'd like to say a word.
Well, I'm humbled and grateful for this recognition, completely undeserved as far as I'm concerned. We've got a lot of members like Neil, like Lucy, who have been devoted to the Sertoma causes, and I just am very much appreciative to be among this group. My laptop doesn't have video on it, so you're probably better off not seeing me today, but thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Danny, for all the hard work.
Thank you, Danny. And you definitely deserve that. You really did. We appreciate all your work that you've done in the club, and thank you so very, very much. Okay, our next award is our Service to Mankind Award. And we are going to call on Tim McMurray, and he's going to read the Service to Mankind Award for that. Tim?
Okay, are we all ready?
We're ready, Tim.
All right. Well, we are very pleased this year to have our second in a row regional pick. This time it's Miss Christy Lefferts, who we've been working with her and her organization for several years as one of our sponsorships. Hers is all about answering her own personal call, following a path of education, including a doctorate in human and composite sciences education, business, and political studies. Christy enjoyed a successful career in the financial industry. And as she moved to the Tampa Bay area in 2009, her life was about to make some major changes. She continued working in the same financial field, but she kept feeling something pushing her to do more. As she returned to her profession in her new home as a single mother, she began pursuing a passion by volunteering with children's organizations, including Guardian ad Litem, but continued to witness the decimation of many young lives due to the drug epidemic and its effects on their parents. Following her heart, Christy began to expand her social network and interests through the exploration of theological perspectives, with Matthew 25 verses 35 and 36 becoming the basic driver of her efforts. For I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you took me in. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison and you came to me. Feeling an even greater move to action as months tick by, in 2012, Christy founded a new charitable organization, which began with her personally purchasing a triplex that was converted to a transitional home for women. Trinity Outreach of Tampa Bay, an intimate, hands-on program offering one-on-one support, training, and love for women referred from local jail and prison facilities, behavioral health hospitals, detox centers, trafficking coalitions, and numerous other sources was born, offering a place to nurture, train, prepare, and better enable women to return to society as productive, self-supporting, and loved members seemed the most logical next step in her calling. The focus would be aimed at the parents of the children by developing a program to enable mothers to be better persons for themselves and their children, and to stop the spiral of dependency and abuse. To date, roughly 85 have finished the residency program, and the current number of residents runs around 18 to 20. The work became so consuming, in 2014, she took a temporary leave of absence from her employment in the financial services industry to devote more time to the growing list of ministry needs. A couple of years after starting the residential program, this work opened an invitation into the local jail system, where she authored many programs for those stuck in confusing situations. This developed into a more recently added second ministry for prison jail outreach for both men and women. She has never returned to her financial career and now works full-time in the two ministries currently at Trinity: transitional housing for women and the prison jail outreach ministry. As Christy labored with developing community relationships, referral networks, and mission supporters, she is now blessed with the addition of talented teachers, authors, group leaders, and pastors that now serve in this grassroots organization. The addition of the quality personnel has opened efforts up to bridging more relationships for the ministry, which includes an opportunity partnership with the local Christian university. The purpose being twofold: to distribute authored programs for jail ministry, preparation guides, court-ordered programs, and various publications done by the team, and to also provide successful graduates of the transitional program with the option of attaining an Associate of Arts degree at no charge. She works as a volunteer and professionally as a recruiter, grant writer, counselor, and other duties as needed for Trinity Outreach. The current roster of additional professionals involved has grown to over 20, and the second ministry has also expanded to include men. Although not able to offer transitional housing for men at this time, the jail prison outreach is now a growing part of the outreach programs and continues to grow with great success. Providing over 150 hours of programs to the Pasco County inmate population with over 1,000 inmate visits annually. Programs include targeting root behaviors, addictions, and issues that are common to the inmate, homeless and addictions suffering populations. Success stories continue to be a blessing to all involved. Notwithstanding all the success stories accumulated since the initial beginnings at Trinity Outreach, the biggest personal blessing Christy is most thankful for is an expanding family, to include an adopted daughter who is in the system. And her family continues to expand from one child she arrived in Florida with, her beautiful adopted daughter, and soon the addition of a foster child scheduled to arrive in June. Truly, Christy has made helping others a very personal 24/7 part of her life. And she has enjoyed blessings like so many of the people that have passed through her program. Tampa East Sertoma is enormously proud to recognize Christy Lefferts and her efforts for truly providing a needed service to mankind as our 2020 Service to Mankind Award recipient. She's the founder and backbone of an organization as a local representative, minister, guest speaker, and fundraiser. Tampa East Sertoma has been an active supporter of her efforts at Trinity Outreach for many years. We've enjoyed watching her leverage her own efforts through other community organizations to attain our goals to help as many as their team can reach to find peace, productivity, health in both body and spirit, as well as purpose within a life that had once been filled with emptiness, sorrow, and defeat. It's amazing how one person with a small part-time staff has mobilized a group of certified professional volunteers to address one of society's major problems, that is recidivism of convicted prisoners after release. She is most certainly providing a valuable service to mankind. And we are proud to offer her as our recipient. And I see Christy Lefferts. I assume everybody else can.
Yes, you're welcome to say a few words.
All right. All right, I didn't know if I was on or not, but thank you so much, Tim and the club and Sertoma friends and family. I'm very honored that you nominated me. I'm very honored to be the recipient of this award. Sertoma, the guys at Sertoma, this club that nominated me, as well as a couple other clubs, have really been so supportive, so kind. I think of them as extended family, not just supporters. And I value so much the work that is done by these groups in our community, because it does take a community to care. What I have found through the years of doing this work is that hurt people oftentimes hurt people. And the cycle just keeps going around. When I started with children over a decade ago, my son was 4 years old and now he's in high school. And I remember we were serving at a local children's home, and he was just 4 years old. And he says to me, this is Thanksgiving, and we were dishing out Thanksgiving dinners, and he's helping. And he says, "Mom, where are these children's parents?" And it really dawned on me at that point that this whole group of children are growing up, and what my child took for granted every day is something that these children don't know. And we were there just to show practical love to these children, to play games with them, to share a holiday with them. And yet it was such a profound impact on my own child, which now he's growing up serving right alongside me and seeing both the successes of being able to reunify families, of weddings, of homeless people or addicted people getting back on their feet, getting a second chance, people who are taken off of suicide watches, being able to now be reunited with their family, hold down a job, start again, find purpose again. And he's been able to witness all of that, and yet still be able to balance it with seeing some of the disappointments that happen, because unfortunately there are those that willfully decide to go back to what they know because there are more extenuating circumstances. And with that, we have joined into a number of collaborations, which we were hoping to launch this year. COVID kind of slowed things down because, of course, it did serve up some lemons to different organizations, but we're busy behind the scenes trying to make lemonade out of those lemons. And one of them was mentioned. We are looking at providing scholarship opportunities to people that are coming out of the jail ministries, whether it's a transition home, whether it's the jail, people who are really serious about changing, and they don't have a Pell Grant available, and they don't have any more ways of really improving themselves, but being able to offer scholarship opportunities so they can start learning and re-educating. Because one of the things we found is that without divine purpose, it's very hard for people to walk this out, to get a second chance, especially if they have a very lengthy record. And it also gives us a chance to stay involved and connected for a much longer period of time into their lives, where they can build more of a connected network around them. Purpose is very significant and it's very underplayed in the whole parameter of trying to get a life back on course. Also, mental illness is another major issue, and we've opened up discussions with a national organization that is on the cutting edge of different brain health strategies and coaching, and things like autism, ADHD, ADD, even early onset dementia from brain trauma, brain damage through excessive drinking and drug usage. They all go together, and the violent lives they've lived. And some of the things I've seen firsthand, I've seen, 40-year-old women come in and you have to tell them 6 times where the bathroom is in a house, and or people we have to send on referrals, and they come back with 11 prescriptions that, keep them tied into the system, and then it's very hard to work with them. So trying to create networks and holistic solutions for them, where we can start addressing an entire lifestyle change, from their nutrition to helping them evaluate what could be going on behind the scenes, because mental health is something that, in general, they don't x-ray, but they prescribe on symptoms. And so we are doing what we can to bring as many useful services into our community. And I hope to be somewhat of a model that other organizations can call and maybe connect with us for further collaborations into other communities as well. With that, with COVID, it's also, as I was saying, trying to make lemonade out of the lemons. It's forced some collaborations within the community. We've seen different organizations shut down, different ministries have to shutter, because we are on the trickle-down effect with chambers, Rotary clubs, different organizations not being able to run their fundraisers, and our own being canceled or postponed. We have been able to collaborate with other housing organizations to start pooling resources. So in the end, I'm hoping we come out of this stronger, and I'm also asking for your continued prayer and support, and I state that we will come out of this stronger within our community. And again, I just thank you so much, and I wish all of you shalom, peace, prosperity, and with just great gratitude and being able to know this club and all of its members. I thank you.
All right, Lucy,
All right.
Back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. You are awesome, and you are doing some awesome work there, and we certainly appreciate everything that you're doing. Thank you so very much. Okay, guys, does anybody else have anything else that they need to say or anything they want to add to our convention? Any questions for anybody? Any of the presenters, or anything any questions for Aaron or Gretchen or me?
Hey, Lucy.
Hey,
this is Gretchen. Beverly posted on one of the questions. It's been there for a bit. She wanted to know, she says she didn't know if you were doing a memorial, but wants the Southeastern family who have visited South Seminole so many times over the years to know that we lost our indomitable 55-year member, Ed Zito, in July, diagnosed with cancer in May, sat in his recliner at home wrapped in a blanket and sang big band songs for 6 weeks until the end. He was our newsletter editor, photographer, bowling chairman, golf chairman, past president 3 times, and all around Mr. Positive. He is missed at 94 years young.
Oh, we're sorry to hear that. Did anybody else have anyone that they lost this year? You know, since Woody is not here and could not join us, he normally did something like that. And, you know, Woody's been ill, and he was not able to join us, and he usually did our memorial. So has any of the other clubs lost anyone this past year that they would like to put in the chat?
It looks like Hazel Robles from Tampa Gems has been put in there. From Diane Warholic is sharing that.
Who was that?
This is Janice. Diane Warholic shared in the chat that Hazel Robles from the Tampa Gems Club.
All right. Anybody?
And now they're starting to roll in here.
All right.
Phil Genevar from St. Augustine. Sig Johnson from Tampa East. Mike Harvin from West Pasco, Sertoma. It's always hard to lose a fellow club member.
Yeah.
And it looks like that might be it for right now, at least.
All right. Anything else, guys?
I think we're finished up, Lucy.
All right, Janice, I want to thank you so much for everything that you did.
Oh, you're most welcome.
Thank you, Aaron, for everything that you did.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you. And thank you for everybody that was on the board that joined us, especially to Daryl, who's in, who comes from Hawaii, who had to join us at 3 o'clock this morning. Appreciate you. So thank you guys again for joining our convention. And again, if you are having any virtual meetings, please let me know. I have joined some of you, went to St. Augustine and a couple of the other ones. So please let me know, and be glad to join your virtual meetings until I can see you guys in person. And so when you do start your in-person meetings, please let me know, and I'll be glad to come out and see you. I will be at Pine Belt's fundraiser in October, be out there working with them. So again, can't wait to see you guys in person. And thanks again for joining our very first virtual Southeastern meeting. We are now adjourned. Wait till I get to the bell. Thank you guys. See you again. Bye-bye.